All right, it's about that time again. Thursday, June 26th, last Thursday in June of 2025. So enjoy it while it lasts because we only got a few hours left. So here we are once again. It is Larry Mastropieri, broker owner of the Mastropieri Group, alongside myself, John Laws, representing Discover South Florida, as we are talking about a number of things. But as the thumbnail suggested, we're going to start off by talking about the one and only Nichols Forest. Now, if you aren't familiar with Nichols Forest, it is a forest, trees, lots of trees, that takes up, I didn't see the actual size of it, 15 acres, but it's in Boynton Beach, which if you're familiar with that, it's just west of the mall. Yeah, there you go, about a block over. I love too, Larry, if you zoom in on the actual beach thing itself, you notice how it says Save Boynton's Forest. Somebody went to the trouble of marking that as the location, you know. So needless to say, the conservation activists, they are getting it done on all fronts, letting it be known to people out there that they don't want to tear down these 15 acres for a new residential development. And it's not just for the sake of saving trees, it's for saving the wildlife that are located there. I mean, you know, if you're not going to do it for me, do it for a specific type of tortoise. It is the gopher tortoises, tortoisei, yes, whatever you want to call it. You got foxes, rabbits, snakes, owls, eagles, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael. You get the idea. There are animals there, and they need to be protected. So here is the gist of it. As mentioned, you know, they were going to sell it to a developer, but a newly uncovered 1961 deed may legally require it to remain for public use, potentially stopping the sale and protecting the vital green space. Back on May 20th, Larry, commissioners declared the land surplus and authorized negotiations after receiving an unsolicited offer of over $5 million from Meisner Global. Are you familiar with them?
The
Meisner Global.
There's been some speculation of who the owner is, and the owner's well known, and we'll get into that here in a second. But yeah, it seems like we may get, or the forest might get lucky, and this surprise deed or hidden deed may save the day here, right? Mm-hmm. So, but Meisner Global, little is known about the company per se. It's more like a shell company, but they believe this company is owned by Avi Stern. This is speculation at this point, I think. But and Avi Stern's a pretty big developer. He owns Meisner Development, and Meisner Development has built a ton of custom spec homes, done a bunch of different construction throughout Palm Beach County, relatively popular in Boca Raton, where we're based, right? So that's so we know who he is. There's actually 2 homes next door to where I live that he's developing. So yeah, pretty active developer. And
is that commonplace for developers like that to try to purchase property under a shell, or as you know, under some sort of alias as a shell company? Obviously, I guess they wanted to mask whoever the developer actually is. I mean, so that does happen a lot.
I mean, forget anonymity for a second, and just think from a legal perspective what makes sense. You could see here that this Meisner Development LLC is owned by Avi, but Meisner Global, let's see, is this? I think I have it up here too. Yeah, cool. All right, our producer's killing it. So you can see authorized personnel details. No one's there. That's why it's hard to know. They just have the registered agent here. Usually, it's unusual that this would be none. But as you can see, Avi's on Meisner Development. So is it common? Yeah, it makes sense. It's to spread out the risk. You're doing a lot of projects. If one goes wrong or someone decides to sue you, right or wrong, they're kind of segmented to that specific issue if it's only under that one LLC. So you would do this. This makes perfect sense. This is not like oh, he's trying to be shady or anything. From my perspective, it's just
okay.
It's just,
And which is what I was alluding to. I was like,
yeah, it's how business is done.
It's
now,
like I'm picturing like a villain from whatchamacallit? What was that cartoon in the 90s? Captain Planet. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's gonna take it over and pollute all of it.
So now I can understand a developer might want to be unknown as well for a number of reasons. You have a lot of people that are very passionate about saving the forests, and they might go find him. You know what I mean? So if you're not known, or the entity you don't know who the owner of the entity is, it's kind of helpful for him as far as his privacy goes and his personal life. And then as far as just being shady, I mean, Avi has been doing business for a while, and he's had, some issues back in the day. He pled guilty to bid rigging at foreclosure auctions. This is where I actually know Avi from. He was bidding on a bunch of auctions in that 2010 to 20 range. I don't know. And he would buy a ton of properties at public auction, foreclosure auction, and we would bid as well, and buy property for our clients and ourselves. And he was just a force to be reckoned with there. He was buying.
How does bid rigging work for anyone who's not familiar with that?
I mean, I'm sure there's a process. I probably could tell you, and it would be boring.
There's a way to cheat it. Avi found a way.
Yeah, or maybe it was a gray
allegedly,
area, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? It was a mess back in the day, right? Like when the economy was, the Great Recession, it was a mess. They didn't know how to handle, hundreds of thousands of foreclosures, and I'm sure there was just tricks to get better deals. And he probably just ended up getting in trouble or his hand slapped for something that, just seemed like it made sense to strategically do when probably other people were doing it too. Who knows? So he's just making it happen. I don't know, but he pled guilty and he's to that. And now it seems like he's doing very well for himself, obviously. And it looks like they're trying to buy this and develop custom homes. It'll be a different type of custom home that we see in Boca than him doing. So it'd probably be a little different. My guess here is I'm optimistic for the forest. I think the forest is gonna be saved.
Nature always finds a way, Larry.
There you go.
Or in this case,
really funny too. I was gonna comment. I noticed all these reviews just started happening right like 3 weeks, right when this stuff started to hit the fan. Local guides, like real humans that are like very passionate about. I might have to leave a review here too. So
review bombing is the thing now. I mean, it's like if you don't like which actors are in a movie or anything else, I get the biggest kick out of that when I see critic score, audience score, and they are at like opposite ends of the spectrum. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure it was very unbiased judgment from the greater groups of moviegoers that watch these incredible feature films. But without burying the lead on this, I mentioned at the beginning that there was a legal deed which could potentially save the sale from happening if you're somebody who's on the side of the conservationists. In 1961, this deed was recently uncovered, which stipulates that land must be used for quote unquote public purposes, such as a park, potentially nullifying the sale. If that use deviates from public purpose, ownership might revert to original grantors or heirs, which is a powerful legal barrier. So there you have it, Larry. I love some of the notes on this too. These advocacy groups that are pushing for protected status. You have Jessica Namath, which if you know anything about football or you're from New York, Jessica Namath is the daughter of Joe Namath, the former quarterback of the New York Jets. And she's been living in Palm Beach County for 40 years. So she is very outspoken about this. And the daughter of Broadway Joe is not messing around. So the next step here is building toward naming it a protected park or conservancy. And the commission is under pressure to reverse the surplus designation. So there you have it, Larry.
Yeah, the trick here is it costs money to operate parks, right? So
Well,
it's a
yeah.
taxpayer expense. So if the community wants that, that's awesome. Green space is great, but this is just a forest. I don't think they have any like park like trails or anything in here at the moment. I could be wrong, but yeah.
Well, I mean, my question is then, do they even have to do that much? I mean, do you technically have to do anything once a place has been designated as a park?
Yeah, I think you just leave it alone.
You just put a
right?
couple signs and that's it.
Yeah, you just leave it as a forest just the way it's been and just don't touch it, right? Just
yeah, it's like we're going for the natural look.
Yeah, I think it's pretty dense. I don't even think you could walk through it even if you wanted to the way it stands right now.
Yeah.
So it's this is funny. I'm reading some of these. They're not even reviews. We need more accessible forests. This place is pristine and should be left as is. Anyone down to get an environmental study done on this location, as well as any other small amount of native forests left in the Boynton area. So it's just like it's become like a messaging board.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so funny. It's great. Hey,
and I'm surprised like that, that Avi or somebody else who looks to gain from having new residential developments there hasn't like come back, kind of flooding these with counter arguments. You know what I mean? Like
totally.
You just got to let this one lie, Avi.
I just put 1-star reviews all over it. This forest sucks.
Right. This forest is garbage. It needs to go.
Oh, that's great.
Man. Well, on the bright side, here in Boca Raton, we're going to have Florida's first mega pickleball complex. Yeah, that's right, Larry. I know you are a huge enthusiast of, pickleball, and you got like a whole collection of paddles. I assume it's for pickleball. A 77,000 square foot 2-story facility is being built in North Park on an old golf course, which this will include indoor, outdoor pickleball paddle, PADEL. Y'all forgive me. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, check this out.
I mean, I know what pickleball is. I don't know what paddle is. Padel? Is it French? Is it padel?
There's a few paddle sports that haven't been popularized around here that are popularized in South America and Europe that I've seen played, which are pretty cool. They look awesome. It looks like a bunch of fun. This is exciting. I think this is great, right? 14 indoor courts, 9 outdoor courts. This is going to be a big place.
Which I was kind of laughing when I was looking at it, and I saw with the 14 indoor, 9 outdoor. I was picturing, I'm like, wow. So I guess they don't play pickleball on different surfaces. We're not going to have like grass and clay courts for pickleball. I don't think that's how it works. I think
I haven't personally played on maybe clay and something else. But I haven't played on Yeah. What is it called? Hard True.
Hard True. That's right.
Yeah. And this is where it's going for anyone who isn't like up to date on this. So where we are here this is northeast Boca, basically. This is the Delray Beach.
Oh, is that Ocean Breeze? Is that where they're putting it?
It's Ocean Breeze. They're putting in Ocean Breeze.
So we're going to have a skate park and a pickleball court there?
Yeah, so it sounds like they're gradually putting things together here in this area, which is good. Making decisions are good instead of just leaving this place the way it's been for forever, right?
Right.
And so like I'm pro those two decisions. And it's kind of funny, like unanimous decision to do this, right? From the local government. Everyone voted do it, it sounds like, which just shows there's like a demand for this and there's a lot of people that want it. It looks like they surveyed, but it's interesting. Boca Raton residents wanted more recreational options. 1,000 residents were surveyed. 30% prioritized pickleball. So, and hey, this place was abandoned, and it, as I said, it's just good to like change this up. And I think this is a good location for it. I know there's some people that probably have some concerns about traffic, et cetera, but as always, as there
was. And I mean, and I kind of left that part out on the last story, that the complaints for not tearing down the forest, traffic being one of them, of course.
Yeah.
That's second true. Though, it wasn't first.
That's true. Yeah. And so what I found interesting, and I was about to say this to you earlier, is looks like they have a development team, and the team will basically build they will flip the bill for building and constructing this, and then they will basically own and operate basically the property. So it's almost like a land lease structure that they're doing here. So this will be a private entity that operates this, and so there will be fees. It'll be a for-profit setup, and so there'll be fees associated with being a member or playing, etc. And it seems like they got a pretty good team put together here. So,
really,
some local.
Are you going to join, Larry? Are you picking up your pickleball membership?
I don't think I have enough time to go do that. You know, one of the guys that works as a door hanger on our team here. He's a
rabid pickleballer.
He's trying to go pro. He's like, that's why he does what he does.
I keep forgetting there is technically professional.
Yeah. He dropped out of school, and all he does is play pickleball every day and then work for us part-time, right? So, yeah.
This is news to me. I had no idea.
Pumped. Yeah. Shout out to Aaron. All right.
Get it, Aaron.
Yeah, so he's been competing in tournaments, etc. This is a thing. This is like a big deal. So I think this is a good addition to Boca. I think it's a good addition to this area, this location that needed stuff. And if anybody's not aware of the other things that are going on, they have plans to make all this green space, parks, and other elements that will, I think, benefit this area immensely. So I think this is an opportunity. Some of my friends, I've sold them homes in this adjacent community up here. We talked about what that will look like. The future of this area will look like, and it'll probably be just a value add for their property once Boca executes on this. And I was looking this up to remind myself. So Boca paid $24 million for the former Ocean Breeze Golf Club, which is what we're looking at here, right? So they spent a lot of money.
So that land was privately owned prior?
Correct. Yep. So they paid $24 million for that.
One of the things that was interesting to me looking at this was how they did have to have special clearance because of the building's height of 46 feet, which goes beyond the normal height limit of 25 feet in the recreational zone. Because we talk about all the time with building height restrictions in Boca and other, neighboring towns. It's one of the things that I have to admit I like a lot about Palm Beach County, particularly in the southern half, is that, we don't have these towering high rises and crap that just takes away from the natural scenery, if you will.
Yeah. Also, I can see, and we've talked about this. There's been some pushback to all this, primarily because the people who are mostly going to be impacted by this are the Boca Chica condo owners. This area, for anyone's benefit, is Boca Chica, and all these condos considered Boca Chica condos. They're all separate associations, but these are all. Just give you some context. These are all.
Yeah, and I've driven through there many, many times. And then those are all older condo buildings, correct? I have to imagine many of them were up for the structural assessments.
1970, 1980, maybe some 1960s. But like this one's a little newer. This one we're looking at here. But yes, they're 1980s at the newest. So totally. Yeah, they've had their fair share of structural integrity work, et cetera. Painting, concrete, restoration type stuff. Yeah. So, but you literally right now, if you walk out of those condos, you walk out to like kind of just like this brush, like they have their property that's groomed and then just like brush. So all that's going to be under development. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I've been there.
Yeah.
Which is not what I would ever expect to see with any open land in Boca Raton, but it's almost like a little taste of West Texas that they just threw there. I'm just kind of like, wow, it's sort of brown here.
Right. Yeah, it totally is.
Anyway. Yeah. So I guess you will have the pickleball court there, and just north of it, the relocated Tim Huxhold skate park, correct?
Yeah. It's going to be somewhere in that vicinity, right in there as well.
So that's going to be an interesting little hub that they're going to build right there. And it's a little bit off the beaten path. So, I mean, you're not going to have everybody driving through there.
That's a massive park when it's all said and done. I mean,
Yeah.
that's huge. It's a
Yeah.
huge green space. And Boca already has an epic number of green space and park locations. So this is just yet another one.
Yeah. And I mean, if that government campus goes as planned, you'll have that many more. So Boca's keeping it green. All right. So moving on, we have South Flagler House, which Related Ross has now secured $600 million construction loan, as the waterfront project has been evolving behind the scenes since 2022. This is one of those that comes from Frisbee and Hines' initial vision to Related Ross's bold bet. Have you been following the South Flagler House at all? I mean, I've even seen some videos on kind of the initial work they're doing with it.
I believe we talked about this at some point.
More than once. I mean, because obviously it's been in the works for a while. So I guess getting the $600 million financing package must be sort of the big step forward.
I think we talked about this one. Yeah. So this is yet another old property that was bought and prepped for the new the new generation, and it's at
the South Corridor or whatever, right by Palm Beach Atlantic.
I mean, exactly. Even it's just south of there, right? So it's really close to downtown. I mean, this is like you could walk Flagler right straight into the downtown area, or a quick Uber ride. 2 seconds, which is nice. So great location, and this is what it's supposed to look like. These are some of the renderings. Let's see.
They always make it look so pristine in the videos.
Totally. It's perfect. It's great. What's interesting? This is a record-breaking $600 million construction loan, and when they get the construction loan, this is likely going to get done, or it's likely underway, and so they're spending money building now. So this is off to the races. So it's a twin tower, 27 stories, designed by Robert A.M. Stern Architects, marking Stern's first Florida high rise. That was proposed, as you mentioned. This has been going on for a little while now, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, you just talk about how different that skyline's going to look right there, because you take into account Palm Beach Atlantic's dormitory, or whatever that massive one they're going to build just a couple blocks north of there. And then you have twin 28-story towers next to each other. It's like, wow, West Palm Beach is growing in a hurry, if you haven't heard.
Yeah. There and most of the stuff that's being put up is the higher end stuff, right? And that still seems to be holding on as far as the market goes, but it's still slowing down a bit. So it looks like they were breaking ground April 2024. So they've been working on this for a year or so now, right? Yeah. And they paid $195 million for the project.
Which fascinates me that they're able. So, I mean, in a case like that, I mean, they're going to go to the trouble of clearing all the land and then wait until they get the loan to go ahead, before they start building. I mean, is that normally how the process works in a timeline?
I think they're working on a lot of things in parallel, because the engineering, the permitting, the approvals, all that material specing, all that, it takes time and effort. It looks like Ross bought this from Frisbee Group and Hines. It looks like, is that what I'm reading here? Mm-hmm. So they tried. So it's just interesting that this is how this all played out, right? Because they launched sales initially in May of 2022. This was Frisbee Group and Hines when they unveiled, and then 2024. And then 2023, Related Companies acquires the project for $195 million, right?
Hmm.
Right. So then,
so it's like what? So they did all the work, and then they just decide, we'll pay for it here.
yeah, it's just, yeah. It's interesting. There's probably work still to be done. This is it's just interesting. Official groundbreaking in April 24. Yeah, so they're just chugging along here, working on this project. 105 to 108 condos, 2 to 5 bedrooms, ranging from 2,200 to 15,000 square feet. That penthouse is probably epic over there, right?
Yeah. Jeez.
Lap pool.
Sorry, I had to take a moment. To wrap my head around that. A $72 million penthouse in West Palm Beach.
Yeah, there you go. So price spectrum, 5.9 million to 7.9, topping out at 72 to 73 million for penthouses. Unreal. Let's see.
That's gotta be some kind of record, doesn't it?
That's a big number. That's a big boy number. Yeah, I agree, because we haven't seen, right. We've looked at the sales of the luxury condos.
I mean, they're up there, but that's I don't know. I can be wrong.
So that's up there for sure, especially in that area, without question. There was that one building that Elon Musk was looking at.
Yes,
we think he was looking at. And those
before the falling out.
Yeah. before the breakup. That's so funny. And then this is interesting. Strategic importance. South Flagler House represents Related Ross's inaugural luxury tower in Florida and cornerstone of Steve Ross's Wall Street South vision. A $10 billion West Palm Beach transformation includes offices, hospitality, and education. So he's a little invested.
I was going to say, man, Steve Ross stays busy. I mean, between all of that, we still haven't forgotten about the Vanderbilt satellite campus. I mean, just everything that is going on in downtown West Palm Beach. That's, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. Ultra luxury pricing in a market now competing with over 6,000 new units in the pipeline. Which is super interesting. Like, they're just, to your point, they're just.
We keep talking about you've mentioned it several times already. I mean, or hinted at it, just that the market's slowed down a little bit, things are softening, and yet, I mean, they are just gung ho here in downtown West Palm Beach.
Yeah, it's wild. I think they have. Yeah, here you go. Here's a good little map. I was looking for this earlier, so you can just see just all the projects underway in this area. And every day it seems like they come up with something new. Ritz-Carlton.
Right.
Transit Village. It's a little different, but how many related group, related companies, like this guy is related companies. All right. One that he didn't do. Whoops. So like, it's just, he's super invested in this. Terra is a big name in the area. BGI Capital. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of big boys invested in this market.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say, I mean, I know Terra now from the Terra and Frisbee Group joint venture on the Boca government campus. Yes. I've been reading a lot about that. So that's that's exciting. And you know what, since we're still talking about West Palm Beach, I mean, why stop now? Because we have developers who bought out an older West Palm Beach condo for $38 million, and get this, they're planning on putting a luxury high-rise in its place.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. This is Coulter Group and Perco, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here's yet another one. Here we go.
Which is also, it's also on South Flagler Drive.
I was just going to make that comment.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So further south. That's why I was confused. The building looks similar. So here it is right here. So here we go again. And this is relatively south. I mean, this is not in downtown.
No.
Because this is downtown. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not far at all, but
Right.
But it's just something worth commenting on. So that's interesting. Let's see. They just greenlit a 18-story, 39-unit luxury tower replacing the 1960s condo, even clearing the way opposite to Mar-a-Lago. So this is, oh yeah, because Mar-a-Lago's right across. Yep. So that's funny. Yeah. Built in the 1960s, renovated in 1984 to house 38 to 39 units. That's what was once there, and now it's getting demoed. 1.4 acre waterfront property facing the Intercoastal and just over from Mar-a-Lago. It's so interesting to me. This whole little sector, this whole area, it's just all like in this massive transition, and it's just this weird place because like you're going to pay whatever, you're going to pay some big number. We just talked about 72 million, whatever, 5 million, 10 million for these condos, whatever the number
But you got those little houses right there.
And then you got
the other
these
side of
things,
it.
like I'm pretty sure somebody just shared with me like a workforce housing project that's like right in this area to bid on. And like, you know, you're paying 200 grand a door for these things. And it's like, what is happening in this area? And this is something that a lot of people have to learn to adapt to when they're coming from another area, because again, certain locations in South Florida just seem different from other places where it's like one area of town is just all new construction and developments and all the same vintage. Whereas like where we're at this is almost like a city just kind of transforming, turning, right?
Do you find that surprising at all that financially you could probably save a lot more money if you bought, you know, a square block of those smaller, older homes that are just, you know, a block off the water and build some of those condos right there instead? I mean, the fact that it seems like it is on the water or nothing.
Yeah, I think part of it is just like the rights, the elevation you can build to. So like if you chose, you know, right. So like if you chose to build like something, say you bought like this whole block, right? Let's say you got crazy, you bought like 20 of these
which
properties.
would still be cheaper than that condo building. Am I wrong? I mean, just
probably cheaper than what they paid for the dirt. Forget about that, right? So like, but again, this is if you go look at the master plans for the community, I would make a bet that this is planned residential at 45 feet or max 35 feet max. And so like you can build custom homes here, and that's what's happening. So like you're getting like a lot of the custom home builders are like in this little area. And then like, again, you cross over Federal Highway US 1, and then it's even, I mean, these homes are like 500 grand, you know, it's 400, 200. And so it's just this weird, it's just a weird, this is more weird than other areas. Like Boca isn't this weird, in my opinion. I'm more comfortable, and this is what we talked about, I'm more comfortable guiding our spec home builders to build in the market like Boca. Again, the dirt might be priced differently, but not really. Like this area is kind of pricey to get dirt here and build on these homes, because you can like, if you like drop in here, I'll give you an example. We'll just drop in. Right, let's see what's on the street. So this is what's here, and then you go down, you look up the street, and that way is where that big high rise will go, right?
Yeah.
So, but this is, so it's not bad, but you can see what is like a block away from your 72 or $10 million condo purchase. Some of these are blocked out. It's interesting. So it's not bad. It's just very different. It's just a very different thing.
Yeah.
And then
just
the
further
block
away
you go, the rougher it looks. And so that's just what it is. And so it's like,
I was like, wait for you to just like go down just like one or two more, like this, you know, the windows are all boarded up or something.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I mean, you'll get
everybody there. Like you see people on the street corners, they're all blurred out. They're shady looking anyway.
Yeah. It's a thing. Yeah. So it either way, it's. I mean, this is the transition. This is what happens in a bigger city, right? Like the city, you just got this churn of like new and old, everything in the mix, and just density.
Yeah.
So
It's just fascinating that we're witnessing it, really. You know what I mean? I feel like we're almost watching, like, do you remember that game that came out like when we were kids? It was like Sim City, not to be confused with The Sims, but like Sim City, and you'd like build the cities and stuff. Like, I mean, I almost feel like I'm watching some of that.
Oh yeah,
with the planning
100%.
and development, it just to see that much construction happening all at once. I never thought it would actually go down like that, but
it's
here we
happening.
are.
Yeah, and South Florida's like it got the most going on. Before we talk about this, I just found this interesting too. Nearly all 38 individual owners accepted a buyout around what they say is about $700K. Some reportedly got paid up to $1 million. So kind of interesting. The condo association was officially terminated by CIBC Bank financed and CIBC Bank financed the $34.5 million purchase or deal. So
all right. So let's say in a hypothetical, when they're going to buy out that building, everybody's on board, except you got this one guy. He doesn't want to move. I am staying put. I love this condo, everything else, which I'm sure has happened. What happens in a case like that?
I think if it's one guy, you got problems because he
suddenly goes missing. I get that, but I'm saying, but theoretically, yeah.
Well, just imagine like being the one guy left after everybody sold, and then they're not going to they'll keep the building safe because that's probably their requirement. Not let the building fall down on the guy that's living in it. Yeah. But I would bet there's some, they control the association at that point. So like once they hit a threshold, and it depends on the docs, it could be, we've done this before where we've looked at buying some of these and then renovating them in like not building, but like out west where you could buy out and make it a multifamily apartment complex. And so you buy all the condo units. And so like, there's like a threshold where you like begin, where you have control. And so if you have control, like you're just not going to make, that guy's life is not going to be like good because there's one, it's going to be a ghost town in there. Two, the condo might decide let's drain the pool. You know what I mean? Okay. You see what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I guess that happens.
And then three, like what we talked about is like when we looked at buying these things, if you control the association and you want work to be done because you're going to keep the building, like in our case, we wouldn't tear it down. We would keep this property and just rent them all out. That I'm referencing. Once you get to like 75% or more, or whatever the threshold is, then you can issue in like, okay, we need new roofs. All right, so we got to assess for roofs. So now the guy gets assessed, $20,000 for roof. And then it's like, well, we need to beautify the property. Okay. The guy gets assessed another $20,000. And it's like, well, you can't, we're not going to give you time to pay it off. You need to pay it off right now. So so now can you pay it off? Well, now you're not paying it. Now you get a lien. You see, it's just like, it's just not where you want to be, the last guy standing, probably, because you probably lose the property before you. So I think it's very intelligent to like know that and understand what the rules are when you're negotiating this. If there's anyone listening here that's like thinking they can big time a big company that knows what they're doing, like because they're going to be the last person standing, not always the answer. You want to probably hold out long enough so you get the max dollars, but not to the end because you might get zero or less than you expected, right? So, yeah.
Interesting. All right. Yep. Okay. So after all this talk about all these incredible developments that have been going on, then I see this, that South Florida now emerging as the epicenter of housing weakness.
Yeah.
But will it spread to the rest of the U.S.? Let's hold off on the rest of the U.S. I want to know about South Florida here. Is that true, Larry? It is the epicenter of housing weakness? That's a bold statement.
Even in remember like the Big Short or whatever, and the Great Recession here, like Florida seems to turn down fast, like early, and then rebound sooner than most, right? So, and a lot of times Florida seems historically to bubble the most, crash the most, and continue that trend, right? This isn't like just recent years. This has been the case. If you go back to there's arguments to be made. There's a great book on South Florida. It's called Bubble in the Sun or something like that, where it talks about the run up to the Great Depression. And there's arguments to be made. The root cause or a strong influence on the Great Depression was Florida's housing market.
The Great Depression, the one 100 years ago almost.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And it was the land bubble. The bubble in the sun was the land bubble as right before the Great Depression occurred. And like it was crazy. It was like the wild west down here. And so that was a big part of what influenced the financial crisis of the 20s era, right?
Florida gets blamed for everything.
Yeah. So I would tell you, it feels, I don't know what other markets really feel like. Some people say other markets are strong. Some people say other markets are weak. I would say, I think certain parts of South Florida are going to struggle more than others. I think the biggest downward, or what's pulling the market down the most, is this condo market, man. It's a thing. And I would bet July, August, September, October are going to be the deciding factors for how soft the market really is. So what we're riding off of, like, we know this, we had 12 closings. We have 12 closings before the end of the month. So we've been like closing like crazy. And so it's been a little chaotic and we feel busy. That's great, but that's June for you, right? That's June. That's what June is. February, March, April, May is the highest velocity season for transactions.
Right.
That gets a little crazy. And by the time June hits, that's when the last bulk amount of homes close. So you feel like June is always pumped up. June looks like the best month, but really June is the start of the softening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you see June look big, but June really isn't maybe that big as far as pending deals go. It's big as far as closed deals go. And then pendings start to slow in June, and then July, you start to see it slow more. August, and so then the velocity slows, or the quantity or the sales volume comes down a little bit. So I would expect sales volume to come down as we hit July, August, September, and probably September feeling the scariest. That's my projection. That's why with our team, right? You know this, back when we're talking about marketing and sales all the time, we're just like, hey, we got to make sure we're market dominant, and we're getting a lot of business conversations because we know the volume is coming down, and so we need more market. We need to take more market share, right? We've talked about this, so I would say I believe it. So this is interesting. Let's hear what they have to say. South Florida, specifically the Tri-County area of Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm, has seen the steepest drop in pending home sales in the nation. A combination of higher mortgage rates, soaring insurance costs, and tighter budgets are scaring off buyers, even in the luxury segment. This isn't just a slowdown. Analysts are calling it uniquely bad. Oh boy, right? That's interesting. So let's look back. That
is an interesting way to phrase it.
Uniquely bad. I mean, and you could see
story of my life.
And you can see one of the pictures that they have here in this Yahoo Finance report. Condos. I don't even think this must be Miami or something. And the storm in the background, it's great. Yeah. Great shot.
That's way too hilly. There's more than just like a mound of dirt on the ground. Like, no, wait. I'm like, hills are way too high. There's no way that's South Florida.
Let's look at this timeline, and this makes sense. I mean, we've talked about this 1,000 times, and we're going to talk about this more because the end of the quarter is literally like 5 days away, right? So, or less. 2020, 2022, South Florida, red hot, inbound migration booms, and remote workers flood the state. 23, insurance rates hit the moon, condo reforms shake up the condo market, and the affordability starts cracking. And that's the biggest thing. Like when people like tell me as sellers, when they're like thinking that they can get more than has ever been sold, like price wise in a community, more than anyone has ever gotten, it's like, hey, we're at this like affordability crisis moment.
Are you still having those moments with people?
100%, without question. Without question. It's like, hey, like, and I try to communicate, like, it's very hard to break records in a community right now unless you are uniquely amazing. Like, check every single box. And so if you're not uniquely perfect, you haven't, I don't know, whatever, fully gut renovated, whatever it is, you know, the whole deal done to like perfection that and style and taste that meets the masses preference, like you're very, very hard, very hard. There's very few people that we've successfully, and there are few that we've gotten like bigger numbers than the past year or 2 or 3 would otherwise have sold for, right? So, but anyway, yeah. So 23, we start to feel that. In fact, I would argue we started to feel it late 22. People maybe don't realize this. We carry a bunch of listings. So when something starts to change, I feel it acutely at scale because I get 30, 40 people, sellers just telling me, you know, what's going on, right? With why aren't we selling as fast? Yada, yada, yada. So 22 is when it changed. Rates went up in mid 22 and that's when things started to change. And so 23, we started feeling it. 24, 25, the shift accelerates. Pending home sales across South Florida drop 14 to 23% year over year. We're seeing this. We're starting to see negative price growth in the market, suggesting homes statistically are worth more or worth less than they were a year ago, right?
Right.
So,
but I mean, I was going to say though, but overall, even with these drops, it's still ahead of 2019, correct?
It's fine. Way ahead of 2019. Way ahead. So like typically when I walk into an appointment and I see that somebody's purchased 2020 and further back, I'm like, oh, this is not a problem, right? Okay. We're going to get it where they're going to make money. It's fine. They're going to have a net positive outcome here. 2021 starts to get questionable. How much did you make a bad decision there? Did you overpay by accident? Like what happened? Okay. Maybe you still won. If you were a savvy buyer in 21, you still got away with it. You did okay. 22, high probability that we're in trouble. That we can't sell again for the same price, even with updates, even with, oh, I put a roof on, oh, I did the renovation. A lot of times that's still a problem. 23, 24, like good luck. We just told a seller yesterday, he bought in 24, bought for $575. We told him his home was worth $450. So he's, you know, he paid $125,000 more than what the property will sell for today. Right. And that's in the $500,000 price point. Oof. Now so I think he hit the double whammy. He probably overpaid at that moment. He probably could have got it for $50,000 less or more. And he bought in 24 and wants to sell in 25. It's just like, that's just like not the time to be doing that unless you have to. And if you have to, that's fine. But that's just what it is. It's just, that's the reality of the market. So anyway, yeah, it seems interesting. Miami pending sales down 23%, Fort Lauderdale 19%, West Palm Beach 14%. Condo prices dropped nearly 7% from 2023. That is just the beginning, folks. That's just the beginning.
Well, you took the question away because I was kind of like, I'm like 7%. I know that's not good, but you know, just the way we always talk about just how tough it's getting for the condo market. I'm like 7%. That suddenly doesn't sound so bad.
Yep. Homes are sitting longer. Price cuts are happening very frequently, and inventory is climbing every day. And so what I've been telling sellers is, think of it like this: every month that goes by, you're probably worth 0.5% less than what you would have been worth, I don't know, the other month. So, so it's That may be dramatic or it may be accurate, but think of it like that. That's suggesting we're like dropping per year 6%, right? And that's especially true for the condo market. It's like sell the damn thing, because every month, not to mention carry costs, you're also losing value without question. So, yep.
Redfin and Bloomberg now rank South Florida as the #1 metro for housing weakness. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Hey, it's been coming. This is like, working with the clients we work with like high-end clients that are spending, $5-10 million when they purchase or sell. And then we also work with the clients that are spending $100 to $1,000 to $1 million. And it's become very, very evident that it's hard to afford anything, and prices, there's an affordability crisis. We've become very aware that there's an affordability crisis without question. That's probably the best way to say it. It's a thing. It's hard. It just like doesn't feel good. Like if you actually do the math on $1 million sale right now, like what somebody's going to pay with taxes, insurance, interest, it's a big number. It's bananas. So, yeah. Lovely.
Yeah. So so you're having to have these conversations with clients like daily. I mean,
daily.
You have to be that. I was gonna say. You have to be the bearer of bad news, like with everyone on the regular.
Yeah, and everyone reacts differently, as you can imagine. Some people hate you. I don't know why.
Like it's your fault. Like you did it. It's like the weatherman,
Yeah, so we've been getting, it's great character building. That's how I look at it. But it's tough. It's tough for sellers right now. We have some agents on the team that are like, I don't want to say newer, but they've they primarily did more buyers than sellers, and like they're working with a few sellers, and they're like tagging me in to help communicate better. And they're just like, man, I'd rather work with buyers right now. And it's like it's kind of funny. It's like it's definitely a buyer's market, and it likely becomes more of a buyer's market over the next 3 months or so, 6 months probably. And then hopefully things level out. We'll see. Yeah. I think the light at the end of the tunnel is population growth is still healthy. So population is still growing in South Florida. People still want to live here. The tax efficiency for living here is still good. We still have wealthy individuals moving. So there's still wealth moving into the area. Whether it be businesses or just people relocating their wealth. And so we have a general positive outlook over time. This is just going to be a shorter term. And by shorter term, I mean like 2-year, not as desirable experience for sellers. But again, we're kind of closer to that neutral space that we've historically seen. Probably a little worse, a little worse than what we've historically had, as far as just like market buyer seller neutral market status. And I think that's okay. It's okay. So, yeah.
All right. Well, enough of that. Now that we've talked about the South Florida's epicenter of housing weakness. Well, hey, what do you know? I'm shocked here. It turns out that South Florida residential sales plunged in May of 2025. I feel like there may be some correlation here.
This is another example. When I tell, like, when was this article published? Let's see. Because I just want to flag this for people. Like we flagged this for our condo sellers like a year ago. A year ago, we said, hey, they just started publishing some articles. This
is from 2 days ago.
2 days ago, right? So very recent. Okay. So very recent publication. You're starting to see this happen. You're starting to see the news hit. The news is already
that. You said it was like once the news caught on that it was going to be much worse.
It's going to get worse. This is going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's what's going to happen because you got Yahoo Finance saying it. You got Real Deal. Every real estate publication or news outlet is going to say some version of this. And New York Times, like South Florida Business Journal, you just go down the list. Everyone's going to say it. They're all going to report on it. And it's going to make people even more, resistant to paying the number that you're asking as a seller, or jumping in the market right now because they're worried. So I think now we're hitting the max, the moment where we start to see things change even more, and we're hitting the summer. This could be the perfect moment, the perfect storm for price and market slowness to rear its head. So yeah, it's definitely going to be it's definitely going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy here.
Yeah.
So, what did it say? 5.6 billion in home sales, down from 6.8 billion last year. So, yeah, getting close to, what is that? That's 5 billion or 500 million less home sales in home sales. So that's it. What were you going to say, John?
Oh, I'm looking at the real deal here, and I'm seeing it not just with them, but others. I guess with the primaries for mayoral election in New York, that Donnie, there's people, the doom and gloom, regardless of your political leanings, saying that, oh man, like even more New Yorkers are going to come down here, whatever. And then I hear you explaining how, this may not be the best time to do it. I don't know. It's like what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
I think, again, so this is the light at the end of the tunnel. So yes, maybe the elections in New York inspire more people to relocate south, maybe, and that's helpful. But either way, we have a healthy population growth here, we have a healthy population growth.
Well, it's funny to hear you say that, just because it seems, and we've talked about this over the past few weeks, how people are staying in Florida. They just might be relocating where they reside in Florida.
Yeah. But even if you just look at, we've studied this, right? People were saying, people are migrating out of Florida, yada, yada, yada. Yes. There's people that always leave, right? But there's a net increase in South Florida. It's not as big as it was in 21, right? But it's still a net increase. And so you're still getting that. And there's other states that don't have that. So either way we have, and the other piece is you can't really build a bunch here, right? Like, especially South Florida, there's not a lot of areas to build new construction. Like I said, maybe certain areas of South Florida, you can do that. Like as you get more north, in like North Palm, et cetera, right? And maybe super south, like Homestead. But generally speaking, we have a deficiency in housing, and we have a deficiency in affordable housing. So that's helpful overall.
I'm amused by some of these raw numbers here. I'm looking at Palm Beach County. You can throw out percentages to me all day, but they said condo closings plunged 17%. Okay, well, what does that mean? 941 sales for condos in all of Palm Beach County. I don't know why. Something about that, I was like, wow, that's really low.
Yeah.
Jeez. I mean, anyway, I'm thinking out loud at this point.
Price fluctuation. Yeah, Palm Beach saw minor declines. Single family homes, -1%. Condos, -3% in price drops. Now, again, this is the first time we've seen prices coming down in 15 years. So
really?
Right? Or 15, 16, 17.
So, I mean, it was one of those where it's like inflation, like the prices were still going up, but just not as much for a while. But now, wow.
Huh. Right?
So that's crazy.
So this is the first time we're seeing these prints of negative so suggesting properties are worth less today than they were a year ago or something like that. Right. And so, yeah, I would expect to see these numbers, those negative price growth numbers, increase, because what we always experience is, like, we feel it in the field first. The data doesn't reflect what the field feels like. Right. And then it may take 6 months for what we're feeling to actually translate to paper. And so now we're finally seeing something translate to paper, but I don't believe that's the reality of it. Like, I think it's the price drops are greater than that. Single family homes in, nice single family homes in non-HOA communities, or HOA communities that are non-membership equity, country club type stuff are the strongest right now. That's the healthiest. That's the healthiest. If you own something like that, you're the most fortunate. If you're buying something like that, you're still going to have some competition. It's not going to be easy. And then if you're buying a condo, well, you probably have some advantages there. So, yeah.
All right. Well,
cool.
About that time, I guess, unless there's
let's call it.
To touch on while we're here. Okay. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We will be off next week, so hopefully all of you will have an opportunity to enjoy your 4th of July weekend. I know we will. On behalf of Larry Mastropieri, broker owner of the Mastropieri Group, I'm John Laws of Discover South Florida. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys in a couple of weeks.